What do you do when you feel as though, as a woman, you are given the runaround, that you're not taken seriously, that your comment are sort of pacified, ignored, or they're sort of saying, yeah, 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 you're not really that important, which is really what we feel when people do not take our comments, our thoughts, our concerns seriously. And I've heard this from thousands of women. January, I don't think I'm taken seriously. I remember that feeling of, I remember one time had to change something that was almost, I felt as though unfair in our old housing in Virginia. And I had to sit down in front of three panel of men in sort of this boardroom like discussion where I was trying to fight on keeping my swing set on the side of my house. And I remember being in a lot of anxiety, and I don't normally feel that anxiety, but I felt it because I felt as though there was a little bit of an injustice, and I felt like they weren't really taking me seriously. And I remember that moment where I feel like, why are they taking me seriously? It's not that, I mean, this is a pretty valid point. And I remember checking with Ryan, and I said, Ryan, is this crazy that I want to be able to have my swing set here and the laws, but they were giving me the runaround. And so I really took that experience to heart and really tried to recognize, what is it about my own self-worth that makes me feel as though I tolerate getting given the runaround? And what skill do I need to learn, unlearn, and relearn that's going to make me show up and they take me seriously? So here's what I tell women. Unless you understand your value and your worth, that your words, your concerns, your frustration matter because you are that worthy, then it's really hard to hold other people accountable because we just don't think that our opinions, our concerns are that important. And if people are doubly compoundingly making us feel less important, then it almost as though our and reconfirms our lack of understanding of our unworthiness. Okay. And so here's what I need you to understand. Number one, you really need to know your worth as a woman. You need to know that your voice matters, how you show up matters, that what you have to say matters, and that your opinions about certain things are important and valid. They don't, not everybody has to agree, but they shouldn't make you feel as though you're small because you hold this opinion. Now, you cannot break free from a prison unless you know you're in one. That's one of my favorite quotes from Vernon Howard. So you need to know when you are put in a situation where you feel like you're belittled, that your worth is almost in question, that your comment is not that important, that people are sort of pacifying you. Yesterday, I mean, a couple of days ago, my daughter almost got hit by a car. I was really frustrated. I was trying to get into a situation where I needed something changed in my street. I needed to figure out if we could put a speed bump. And so I called someone, and in my conversation, I felt as though I was sort of given the runaround. Yeah, we'll look into that. We'll check into that. And so, step number one, you need to know when you're getting the runaround, which means you're not taken seriously. The moment people around you say, yeah, we'll check on that, I'll let you know. No. Okay. But you need to know that you feel like you're not given the runaround. And you usually know when you're not given the runaround, you're given the runaround because they're not concrete about the solution. They're not really engaging you in a conversation. They're sort of like kind of listening passively. Okay. And so in that moment, ladies, where you feel like you're given the runaround and you want some answers, you need to say something. Okay. Because if you don't say anything, then you're going to be upset and annoyed and resentful that you didn't say anything, and you're going to be angry about the situation, or you can do something about the situation. And so what do you do about the situation? You need a script of accountability. Number one is that we need to always manage our tone of accountability, is what I call it. As women, we need to know which tone to use in each moment. Saying goodnight to my girls, reading a book, or having that tender moment with Ryan or my children, I need to know that I'm using a tender tone. I am trying to reprimand my child and discipline. It's a different tone, right? A different kind of conversation. Well, it's the same thing. I'm saying something in my hair here. It's the same thing with when you're holding people accountable. And so in that moment, you can switch your tonality right away. You're having a nice conversation and you're trying to be heard. And then all of a sudden you realize I'm not taking it seriously. So you raise your tonality and say, excuse me, and this is really, if I'm speaking to you and I said, yep, that's what I'm seeing. And then you feel the runaround, you say, wait a minute, sir, excuse me. I feel as though you're giving me the runaround. Period. Excuse me, I feel as though you're not really giving me a concrete answer, and I am not clear here what the solution or what you're trying to do. Can we bring clarity to this conversation? You're switching your tone and you're creating a new script. You see the script? You need to be able to say, this is what's happening in this moment. You're not taking me seriously. We are never rude. We're never rude, although sometimes Mama Bear does need to come out and you need to be firmer than usual. But if you can avoid it, you're never rude. You can be firm and tender at the same time. That's the art. Okay. And so then you let them become aware. And then you say, listen, I don't have a lot of time and energy for the runaround. I need to know who I need to speak to. I need to know the concrete step that needs to happen in order to make this happen. I need you to tell me when you're going to get back to me. Okay. And and take accounting of it. When did you say it? And this is what I tell, whoever, it could be a man, it could be a woman. I feel like you're giving me the runaround. I expect your integrity. Pause, period, stop. I always say you make a man out of a pause or a woman out of that pause. Don't be a filler. Let the conversation pause and naturally get other people think. And I always say it's the rising point. Okay. The thing is that we don't sometimes know what to say, and so we over talk. We over communicate. No, you communicate effectively and ask for the things that you need, and almost as though you have this intention of, I just want to get things. I want to be a woman of solution. Let's find the solution. Let's move the needle forward and let's make it happen. So here's what I want you to recognize, ladies, is that if we do not hold people accountable, we create monsters of people. And at the same time, we create monsters from within. And what I mean by that is that when you're not holding people accountable, you're resentful, you're annoyed about it, you're frustrated. And so you develop an anger or frustration, and we become a different kind of woman. We become angry, we become upset. And then this is where we start to build prejudices and judgment, because we never actually held people accountable, because we never were taught how, which is why I'm teaching you how. And so we carry with us wounds and walls because we were mistreated and we didn't know what to do about it. So this is you learning what to do about it. Okay. So ladies, hold the world accountable firmly and tenderly. Be intentional about your tonality, about your integrity, about how you show up, and don't be afraid to ask the questions that's going to give you the right answer. Okay, this requires a lot of training. This requires practice. But ladies, we need to learn it. It's a skill that our children need. It's a skill we need to have effective, beautiful, wholesome relationships. There is absolutely no beautiful relationship without boundaries and accountability. Okay. And so use this opportunity to reflect. How do you hold the people around you accountable? And then get to work with the right script, the right mindset, so that then we can become a woman that elevates everyone else around us by holding them accountable to their word and their actions. Make it a great day. As you can see, I'm at the beach. No, I'm really not. It's just my background. Share this training. Give somebody the tools they need to show up beautifully so that they contribute their light to the world. This is your guide, January Donovan, self worth strategist. Bring your light, ladies, and lead the charge for the next generation, beginning with you.